Hey everybody, this is Dr. Heldman here. Welcome back to Tech Talk Education. I want to do a series of what's going to wind up being 2 or 3 movies. I want to introduce you to a really great product called TryHackMe. It's one of my 2 favorites. And we're going to take you through a room called TryHackMe, or a challenge called TryHackMe Enumeration and Brute Force. The reason for this is there's a lot to know about getting TryHackMe set up so you can use it locally in your own VirtualBox VM as opposed to using the attack machine that TryHackMe provides. So I want to run you through that, and then we'll get started through the very basic few first questions, because there's some really good meat in there, some very good digital stuff that you'll want to know about. And I'll only take you about a third of the way through it this time, and then we'll come back and redo it again. But it's a super fun room. I like TryHackMe a great deal. And so let's get started. It should be a lot of fun and a really good way to learn a lot of technical detail about cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So I said that 2 of my favorite hacking practice labs, online labs. First one is TryHackMe. I love these guys, and they have really upped their educational level by quite a bit. So this is really a good place to get a good education regarding the technical details involved in cybersecurity. It's a very complex calling, you might say. So somebody that's going to jump in here has to really have a love and a passion for computer technologies, for sure. Now, I'm in a basic room, so this is a web hacking room, and the idea here is to teach you how to be, an ethical hacker or penetration tester. And so we're going to enumerate and brute force authentication mechanisms. They say that the room is easy and that it's 30 minutes. Now, you can create a free TryHackMe account and access this room for free, which is great. And their dashboard and their learning are super good. You can compete with others if you want. And if you decide to go premium, that unlocks some other things for you that are super helpful. Now, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to learn some things about how to hack, and there's quite a bit of technical good stuff in here that I want to go over, because it's just essentially you're told that you should have a knowledge of it, and it's not that they glossed over it, but they just showed you what the code, and I think it's important for you to understand the code. So that's my motivation here by doing this movie for you. But what we're going to do now is we want to enable this so that it runs inside Kali as opposed to running inside here. So you could start the attack box. Now, what starting the attack box does is I have a wide screen on this computer. It opens up the machine for you in another pane. So you're looking at the TryHackMe pane, and then you're looking at the attack box pane, and you can use the attack box to enter your commands. That's a very good scenario. It's all done virtually, just like you would be doing with Kali Linux. However, I have found that being able to use local Kali Linux when working with these particular machines is super helpful. So I'm not going to start the attack box, but what I am going to do first is I want to show you how to configure your Kali Linux so it can play in the sandbox with TryHackMe, and we're going to use OpenVPN for that. So the place to go is to go to a URL. It's tryhackme.com/r, like Romeo, /access. And what you're going to notice here is that you have some machines and some networks. And you get a choice. Now, I'm a free user right now, so I don't have a lot of choices. But you get a choice of the different nets that you can use. It looks to me like this is using Amazon Web Services, and they have different availability zones. These are all different AZs. And so it's saying it by default points to EU Regular 1. I'm pointing to US West 1 because I live in the United States. I'm in Colorado. US West seems better to me than US East. if this indeed is AWS. It could be Microsoft Azure, but I think it's AWS. If it is indeed AWS, their US West site is based in, of course, in California, and their US East site is based in Ohio. So I'm picking US West regular, not a big deal. Then what you want to do is download the configuration file. I would download this to your local regular computer. I would not download it locally to Kali, because you want to hang on to it in case you need to rebuild Kali and you're going to go back and restart it. Anyway, you download the configuration file and it's ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is jump into Kali, and I want to show you how to enable OpenVPN and also how to use that OpenVPN configuration file. Okay, so here we are in Kali. I'm going to bring up a terminal window, and I'm going to do a sudo apt update. I've already done that today, so I don't need to do it again. I would do this when you're getting ready to work with some of these machines. It actually makes a difference. I remember teaching some classes where we couldn't get something to work, and one of the kids did a sudo apt update, solved that problem right away. So I've become a believer in sudo apt update. So give that a shot before you start doing the other work. Now what we want to do is we want to sudo apt install OpenVPN. Now, note to self, it's already installed in Kali. It's going to tell you it's already installed. So even though you go through the effort to install it, it's not there. You're good to go here. Okay, that's great. The next thing that I would do is I would make a directory for my case. I'm going to clear the screen here. I would make a directory that you use when you're working with TryHackMe. So THM is their initials. I'm going to make a directory called THM. I'm going to change into that directory. And then I'm going to make a directory called, I think I'll just call it Enumeration and let's see, brute force. And I'll just put BF, like the Enumeration and BF, just to keep it simple. So I'll hit enter and I will change into that folder. Clear the screen. Okay, now I'm in that folder. Everything looks really good to me. That's all good because that's where we're going to be doing the majority of our work for this first little session. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to bring up the Windows File Explorer. You use a Win-E to bring that up if you're in Windows. So here I have the Windows File Explorer open, and you can see that there's a file here called bill.heldman.ovpn. This contains all of the information that is needed for you to be able to access TryHackMe using Kali Linux. So this is really good. Now you remember that I taught you several videos ago, when you're building out your lab, make sure that when you're using Oracle VirtualBox, you enable drag and drop. That's going to be very, very important here, because what we're going to do is you would drag this thing and drop it over onto the desktop. You can see that I've already done that, so I don't need to do that again. But what you'll do is take and click and drag this onto your desktop, and then you'll have it. Now we can open this thing by double-clicking it, and you can get a picture of what it looks like here. You get a SHA key, and you get all kinds of settings that are going on here. So that's what it looks like, and it's allowing you to get into OpenVPN on TryHackMe. Okay. The next thing we need to do is we need to start it. So what you're going to do is you're going to say sudo OpenVPN, and then you're going to point it to the path. Now, when you are looking at the instructions, let me show this to you in the TryHackMe page. So we've done this. We've downloaded the configuration file. There's another page you need to go to. It's TryHackMe/r for room/room/OpenVPN, and this is what a class looks like when you're working with TryHackMe. So in this case, what we have is connecting to the network. They want you to install OpenVPN. We don't need to do that. And you have to answer questions. So TryHackMe is going to say, answer the question below, download, and then they'll tell you no answer needed. So you just click it, and it'll give you the correct answer for that. Your next section is connecting with Windows. These are just instructions. They're excellent, showing you how to connect with Windows, but we're not going to do that. We're going to connect with Kali Linux, so I'm going to blow this off and just hit submit the answer. Connecting with Mac, if you happen to have a Mac, they show you how to download OpenVPN and connect with Mac. That's great, but I want to connect with Linux. And this is where we get this whole sudo apt install OpenVPN, which we don't need to do because Kali already knows about it. And then sudo OpenVPN path to file, file name OpenVPN. So you've got this sudo OpenVPN path to file, file name OVPN. This is a hint, and what it's doing is it's telling you that you can connect now inside Kali using this particular thing, but you have to know the path and you have to know the file name to open. Let me go over to Kali now and show you how that works. Now you can see that I've already got the path filled in here, but how would you find that if you were looking for it and you didn't want to just kind of hunt around and you didn't know that much necessarily about the Linux directory structures? Well, what you could do is open up the file system right here. So I go to Kali, desktop. There's my Heldman OVPN. So I right click, properties. There's my path right there. So I'll highlight that whole thing. Copy it. I'll go into my path here and I'll wipe this out here because that's not the folder that I want. The folder that I want is my desktop. So I'm telling it to go to, I want to right click and paste the clipboard. And I'll get rid of this nonsense here. And you can see that your path now says home Kali desktop Bill Heldman OVPN. Now it's got to have that. The path has got to be correct. It's got to know the location, and it's got to be an accurate OVPN. So I'm going to hit enter here and start this. Boom, like that. Type in Kali for my password. You cannot put this window away. So once you are working inside OVPN, you have it running here like this, like it's showing up on the screen. You cannot put that away until you're done with your class or you're ready to leave for, to go do something else and come back. So please remember that this is something that you stop and start. It's not something that's going to just stay in place all the time. So I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to leave it running and I'm going to minimize it. Here's the kill button. Here's the maximize button. Here's the minimize button. I'm going to minimize it and I'm going to kill all this stuff because I don't need it. And it shows up here now on the list. So you can see there that I've got it running there. Okay, I'm going to grab another terminal window here because I want to check this. And I'm going to do an IP space A. And I want to show you that it is pointing to what is called tunnel. Now I happen to have two of these, and it's because I've been working with this a couple of days now getting ready for this class. But this TUN is what you're after. So tunnel, TUN stands for tunnel. This is the tunnel 0 adapter. That is what you're going to use when you're going to get at your Try Hack Me room. So we will use that tunnel, and you can see that it has an IP address that was given to it, in my case of 10.2.7.2.19. Okay, that's very good. I just want you to be aware that it says tunnel and that now you are in and you have a valid IP address to get at this room. The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and get the room started. So I'm going to switch back over to Try Hack Me now. Okay, so I'm all done here. I'm all done with this OpenVPN class. Click correct answer. They also give you a way to start this by starting the attack box. And they have actually really improved it. It looks really cool. They've done some good work with it, but I prefer to do everything using Kali, so I want to continue to use OpenVPN. So if you did not want to use OpenVPN and you just wanted to use the attack box, click the Start Attack Box button and it'll open up a dual pane here for you. The left-hand side will be your class, the right-hand side will be the attack box. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go back now to enumeration here, and instead of starting attack box right here, you see that button there, it's lighting up. I don't want to do that. I want to start the machine. This is going to take 2 or 3 minutes, so I'm going to put you on hold until that gets done. By the way, you can see here it's saying target IP address. That's what we're looking for. Also, this thing says that it expires in an hour, so you can extend that. So if you need to go a little bit longer while you're going through this class, you can extend that by just clicking add 1 hour, and that'll work just fine. Okay, now I've been given a target IP address. Here it is right here. I can copy this to the clipboard. You get a little note up here on the right hand side saying, hooray, you have done that. And I'm going to go quickly through the introduction here. So they're going to show you quite a bit here. This is actually a really, really good class. And the thing that it will probably prove to you is how very limited you are. I know it proves that to me on a constant basis on my knowledge of this stuff. So cybersecurity, ethical hacking, penetration testing, threat hunting, these are highly technical topics. And so what they're telling you is you need to have a familiarity with HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. They give you a hot link here to where you can click that and go take a look at it like that. But what I would do if I were looking at that and I'm like, oh, I don't know what the codes are, the status codes that they're talking about here, I would actually go do a little bit of chat or, whoever, Grok, whoever, and get a little more help with that, because that's going to be useful to you to know some of these codes. Once we start getting into Burp Suite, we're going to see these codes show up. Also, you'll need to know Burp Suite, and that's part of my deal here. I want to go through. This first part is a little bit technically challenging. The second part with Burp Suite is even more technically challenging. So I want to make this 2 or 3 movies just to help you get comfortable with the tech that's going on here. So movie 2 will be about how to use Burp Suite, and then you need to know how to use the Linux command line. Now the thing that they're telling you here is that they want you to edit Etsy hosts. And they want you to edit it with this number right here. This is really cool. This is how clever these guys are. They know your IP address here. They went and copied it in here. So they didn't have a placeholder. They actually put your real address in there. And then they tell you that you want to visit enum.thm. Well, that's all done in Kali. So let's go look at that. Okay, here's Kali. I can go ahead and kill this screen. So I'll just clear the screen here. I have validated that I have a tunnel adapter. Now what I want to do is I want to do a sudo nano, and I'm going to nano/etsy/hosts. Now Windows has a host file too, and the basic idea is you're pointing a name to an IP address and vice versa. So when you type in a name, it wants to go to the IP address or the opposite. And so we're going to edit this file. Now I've done this a couple of times, so you'll see the edit in here already. And I'll paste that in again. I should not have double pasted that because it created a mess. Okay, and I hit the tab key so that it's all nice in a line. It doesn't matter if you hit tab. So what this is doing is it's saying it's pointing to the IP address that's been given to me for my machine. And notice that TryHackMe calls it an attack box. If you're using it alongside, you have the attack box open up alongside TryHackMe. If we're using OpenVPN, it calls it a machine. So in this case, this is the IP address of the machine I'm using. That IP address will go away once I'm done with the class, and I'm pointing it to enum.thm. I do a Control-O and Enter to write the file, and Control-X to exit the file. I am going to now I'm going to move into my TryHackMe THM/EBF and clear the screen. And now what I'm going to do is bring up Firefox. Now when we get to the Burp Suite section of this class, we aren't going to use Firefox because Burp Suite has forked the Chromium browser, and it uses it internally. I like it a lot better. If you go back and you look at older movies that deal with Firefox and talking about how to use Burp Suite, they're going to use Firefox, and they're going to go get this extension called Foxy Proxy, and it works okay. It's not a problem, but it's not clean. And so you have to remember, okay, I've got Foxy Proxy enabled. Why am I not getting out to the web? Oh, it's because I've got Foxy Proxy enabled, that kind of a thing. So I actually like using Burp Suite's internal browser, the Chromium-based one, instead. Now in this case, what we want to do is we want to go grab that URL. So the URL is http://enum.thm. So enum.thm/ and I hit enter. All right, now there's one thing I neglected to show you, and that was that we should ping this host just to make sure we can hit it. So if I ping my particular IP address, it should return back. It's actually the window's timed out by now, but you can see that I did it before the window timed out, and it did reply back just fine. I would have to restart the window if I was not hitting it, and the way, of course, that you do that is you just say add an hour, or you might have to restart the machine, one of the two. But in this case, I was getting a good ping back from it, and this is the results that you should see. So this page was built for the HTTP Basic Authentication Lab, the Predictable Tokens Lab, and the Verbose Login Attempts Lab. Now, this is where we'll lay off today because I accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to talk to you about how to enable OpenVPN on your Kali Linux computer so that you can connect to TryHackMe locally rather than using the attack box, which is fine. Those are fine. And so that's a little bit of a process. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get started in going through the actual class work. There is some relatively detailed material that I want to go over when we get into that session. But so I've taken this a little bit long. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it. And if you're liking these movies, I would love it if you'd like it, subscribe to it, share it. I'm trying to grow the channel. So anybody you tell, I appreciate it. You're welcome to leave comments. I've gotten some really great comments lately from folks. And the next video, we're going to go through the second part of this where we're doing this authentication work inside TryHackMe. So I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you and have a great day.